my love and I took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in the snow-covered hill that the landslide brought down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Oh, well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. Oh, but time makes me bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built my life around you. Oh, but time makes me bolder, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. Oh, I'm getting older too. So take my love and take it down. Climb a mountain and turn around. If you see my reflection in the snow-covered hill, landslide bring down. If you see my reflection in the snow-covered hill, landslide bring it down. The landslide bring it down.
Good morning and welcome to the Universalist Church of Champaign-Urbana. We are, is it not on? We're working on it. We'll find it.
There we go.
I have faith. Look at that. Live from Urbana, it's Sunday morning. Yes. Thank you. Gosh, this is my first time here. How's that for an impression? Hi. Welcome and good morning to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Urbana-Champaign. We are a congregation of diverse perspectives, experiences, histories, ages, and bodies and selves, and we are united through those differences, through our shared mission to build community, seek inspiration, promote justice, and find peace. My name is Reverend Jennifer Innis, and it is my great joy to serve as the minister with the Universalist Unitarian Church of Peoria up the road. My pronouns are she and her. It is such a joy to be here this morning. The ministers are doing a little pulpit swapping. In fact, my spouse, the Reverend Patrick Price, who is our interim in Davenport, Iowa, he is currently about to lead service at Peoria. And Reverend Beth will come and enjoy the hospitality at Peoria at a different time. So we are just all flush with the ministers, aren't we? This is good. Also want to take a moment and thank Sam and all the folks who are helping to put together the service today, help guide me through this process and create. And I so think that we're off to a lovely start with such beautiful music. Thank you. Here in our building on Green Street, We reside on the ancestral lands of many nations who hunted and traveled and called this land home. Notably, the Confederation of Illinois tribes who lived here before white settlers included the Peoria, the Cahokia, the Kaskaskia, the Michigamia, and more. These peoples and others who followed them are still striving for sovereignty and dignity today. And while we know that a land acknowledgement is neither reparations nor relationship, we believe it is one part of the process on the path to those things, and grappling with our history and honesty and care calls us into deeper spiritual alignment. No matter our ancestors, we collectively honor all those who have come before us and made this moment possible. And I welcome us all, virtually or in person, into this sacred time together. I especially welcome any guests who are joining us today and invite you to complete a visitor's card so we can help get to know each other. And everyone is invited to conversation and kinship for social hour just after the service down the hall in Fellowship Hall. And also a note for today, this is a multi-generational service, which means all the children or youth are invited to stay in for the whole of the service. But of course, anyone, no matter age or stage of life, if you need to get up and take a moment to just move and stretch, you are welcome to enjoy taking a moment to do so. And also we have the live stream of the services in the comfort of Fellowship Hall. It is such a joy to be able to begin and lead worship with this congregation. I love being able to begin with the chalice lighting, in fact, because I am a third-generation Unitarian and Unitarian Universalist. We've been lighting the chalice for a long time. So it is with joy that we begin and enter into worship. We begin our services, as Unitarian Universalists across the country do, by lighting a chalice, which is one symbol of our shared living faith tradition, and which reminds us of the spark of life that connects us to all beings. Let me say our offering for today. We kindle this flame as a symbolic connection to our ancestors who bravely shared their light in days past, to all our kin near and far, who will hold tightly to hope in this moment, and to the people who will follow us in love in the moments yet to come. I invite you to rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 347, Gather the Spirit, by Unitarian Universalist musician Jim Scott. Please rise and let us sing.
Gather the Spirit of heart and mind.
united once more. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. Gather the Spirit mowing in all, drawn by the moon and fed by the sun, winter to spring and summer to fall, the chorus of life resounding as one. Gather in peace, gather in thanks, gather in sympathy now and then, gather in hope, compassion and strength, gather to celebrate once again. While the mission of this congregation is made possible for the shared time and talents and financial generosity of members and friends, we know our work within this congregation is strengthened by our connection to the wider community. Was that supposed to be a different thing? No, I'm not doing the time for allergies. Well, no, I will. I was looking at the order. Would you come take a look at the order with me, please? Worship is made for us, not the order of service. Not us for the order of service. Amen? Amen. Thank you. Is that what was?
Yeah.
Oh, it's community.
So we messed that up.
Okay. Will you come talk about community matters now?
No, you do time for all ages now.
Oh, okay. Totally good.
Okay.
All good.
We do this by committee.
Hi. We're all good. All right. So let me begin by just showing what I brought with me. Now, just to be plain and honest here, this is my daughter's rental violin. It's okay. It's got even like the little dots on it to show where the fingers should go. It's okay. But it is, in fact, a violin, a full-size one, in fact. So I was wondering if anybody could tell me where violins come from. What goes into making a violin? I'm sorry? Horsehair. Oh, yeah, that's true. Probably not this one, but I'm just going to say. Well, how about the body of the violin? Yeah, wood. Okay, there we go. Now, much of their body and their sound comes from the wood that goes into making the instrument. And there are some violins that are so famous that we know the names of the artists, such as Stradivarius, right? Now, one of the places where they found wood for these wonderful instruments, those really beautiful ones, was a forest called Bosco che Suona, known as the woods that sing. The woods that sing. And the woods that sing are found in Italy, way across the Atlantic Ocean from here. And the woods that sing include wonderful spruce trees from which people have heard beautiful music for centuries. And even today, people who make violins come to the woods for the trees. And the artists are partners with the foresters, and they select trees they think will make excellent violins. And a felled tree, one that has in fact been cut down, makes room for new saplings as well. And making a violin, that itself takes a long time, and that is time enough for more trees to grow. But before a tree hits that chopping block, the foresters look around to see about any of the tiny saplings that are struggling to grow nearby. And if so, they also know that removing an adult tree will let in more sun and help the babies mature. So the head of the local forest service explains that light is that limiting factor in the tree growth. That as soon as a tree falls down, those who are born and suffering in the shadows can start to grow more quickly, he says. And so centuries from now, those trees too might become musical instruments. But there's also another place of taking great care that's not far from the woods that sing. So, have you ever looked at a bulletin board and the squishy stuff that's on a bulletin board, the cork, as we call it, or what corks might be in a bottle? So cork also comes from trees. It comes from the bark. So in Spain, not that far from these woods in Italy, forests of cork oak likewise thrive in large part because of the utility of human industry. For hundreds of years, maybe thousands of years, the bark of these trees have been used to make cork stoppers that keep liquid, like wine, in a bottle. And because only the outer coating of the trees are harvested, the trees are left to stand and keep growing. And so they continue to sustain the local ecosystem and human economies. From the Huffington Post, clearly the environment supports rural livelihood and diets, but it also provides a powerful boost to the ecosystem. By resisting both fire and drought, cork oak stabilizes the region's sandy soils and holds a line against the land becoming a desert. And the trees, which are neither irrigated nor treated with herbicides or fertilizers, they store carbon. Because a harvested tree needs to regenerate its bark, it absorbs up to 5 times more carbon than an unharvested tree. They also provide plant and animal habitat, absorb rainfall, prevent soil erosion, and thus protect the watershed and supplies 2/3 of, in this case, Lisbon's drinking water. So by material harvesting this way, it lets it come back again and again, and the people who make cork for the world support rather than endanger these forests. And by taking good care of natural resources, we actually allow them to thrive and ensuring their ability to be there for centuries to come. Humans have developed this mutual bond with these trees that depends on time and long-term relationship, because long-term thinking can be a little challenging for us short-term human beings. Can I get a yahoo? Yeah, we go. Trees alive like us, but for so much longer, can help us imagine a time scale and thus a world that exceeds our own. Thank you for joining me for the story.
Now we'll do the community matters. And your order of service should be correct from here on out. A key part of our mission is to build community. And so we have many spiritually enriching and socially engaging programs here. And you can find news about those in our weekly e-news and on the website. I just want to mention two things for December. There will be a caroling event in the middle of the month. There's an announcement about that. And on Christmas Eve, we'll have both a morning service and one evening candlelight service. Be sure to check the e-news and the website for more announcements. The mission of this congregation is made possible through the shared time and talents and financial generosity of our members and friends. In keeping with our values, we share a portion of all non-designated offering funds each week with an organization whose values align with our own. This month, our shared offering is the Greater Community AIDS Project of East Central Illinois, or GCAP, which serves the needs of those living with HIV/AIDS and works to empower them to live full, healthy lives. This would be a good time for the crooners and the band to come up, and for everybody else, for all the ways you support this congregation, we offer thanks. The offering will now be received. We each bring with us both joys and sorrows when we gather. We share those joys and sorrows with each other, knowing that in sharing, our sorrows may be easier to carry and our joys more abundant. If you have a joy or sorrow you would like to publicly share, I invite you to complete a card, which you can find in the back of the pews, or the ushers can bring you one, or pull out your phones if you're in the room or online and send it to joysandsorrows@uucuc.org. We will sing our blessing song, May the Long Time Sun, as you complete your written joys and sorrows. And we invite you, if you're so moved, to come to the front during the song and drop a stone for your sorrow or a petal for your joys in the water bowl on our chalice table. May the act of sharing together bring us comfort.
May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home. May the long time sun shine upon you, all love surround you, and the pure, pure light that's within you guide your way home.
I'll begin with a joy that we missed last week. Katie Goslin and her family report that their daughter Violet's surgery went well and she came home this week. All good. From the Pitzel family, sorrow for our cousin, a bride-to-be, This December, her fiance unexpectedly passed away this week from suddenly relapsed and aggressive cancer. From Jesse Brewer, just released from the bonds of prison after 17 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You know, nothing we can say will be enough, but glad you're out.
We'll talk later.
From Jerry Carden, grateful to have my birthday to celebrate on Thanksgiving Day. Truly thankful to be alive. From Amanda Jane Pellett, my best friend, Rachel died November 20th last year, and I miss her. From Mabel Munoz, thank you for my family and the snow for Christmas and more. And my dog passed away, but I still love her. From Paul Weston, happy to be feeling great after a bad fall. Thanks, Paul. From Beth Simpson, this is my second post-stroke anniversary. Thank you and blessings to all who help. From Laura Haber, a joyful, snowy 88th happy birthday for Herb Heestand, a man for all seasons. Yay, Herb. And from me, for those of us who have dogs, a special joy for the first snow when they get outside and frolic. For all the joys and sorrows we have shared and those you keep in our hearts, thank you. We'll now turn it over to Reverend Jennifer.
Our reading today comes from Roddy Bell Shelton Biggs, one of our students in seminary at this time. And they say, "My dreams, they matter. Though at times I may forget who I am or who I am becoming, dreams, my dreams, they matter. When I make space for all that is, when I move away from that which no longer serves me, when I make space for the new possibility in the circumstances, my dreams do matter. They matter. They hold many truths and turning points. They matter, though at times I may convince myself I don't. They do. For they call me back in time and forward still. My dreams matter. They matter as they pull me inward and yet simultaneously push me outside of myself. My dreams matter. They matter as they speak to the breadth of love, of pain, of hope, the rest deep in the fabric of my blood and bones. My dreams matter as they are connected to the dreams of my ancestors, connected to all who have graced this earth before, who grace it here and now, and will be connected to all who grace the earth when we grace this place no more. My dreams, they matter. Your dreams, they matter. Our dreams, they matter. They matter. The blessing song you offered in the service reminds me of one of the pieces that I learned growing up in youth group, in Unitarian Universalist youth group. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. Listen, listen, listen to my heart's song. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. I will never forget you. I will never forsake you. The poet Claire Russell begins her piece, Becoming Good Ancestors, like this. They are wanting to tell us something, the future people, the people of whom we are the ancestors, yet they are the wiser. They're wanting to tell us that what we do now matters. They want us to know that they see the dismembered ways that we live and how difficult it is for us to remember how to return to the family of all things. But their existence is testament to the fact that it is possible. They know we feel trapped by the system of entanglements and obligations and amputations of our imaginations in a system that only ever intended us to be kept blind behind the bars of our cages. But they want us to remind ourselves, they want to remind us that there was a time when we could not imagine a world order that was not based on the divine rights of kings. And before that even, there was even a time when we knew what it was to belong, when we knew we were eland and mantis and dancer, when we knew we were the firefly and the ocean, the stuff of stars and the breath of birds. As we are in this moment in our society, this holiday season that begins back in October and carries us careening forth through the new year, before we succumb to the pressures of all the over happiness and all of the Thanksgiving and all of the, and why can't you be enough in your joy, gosh darn it? Ooh. I want to pause and also pay attention to what is also with us, which is, well, certainly we might call it tradition, but also simply remembering, maybe nostalgia, maybe connection, maybe missing, as I think we've already heard in the service today, some missing, some cherishing, some longing for those who have passed, for times that have been, for other moments that are no longer here. This remembering and missing and longing that kind of ends up being in the swirl of holidays and the seasons and the liminality of this time. It's kind of its own time travel, if you were. Some of us might have seen the Doctor Who special last night. But not just that, it's not just reserved for the science fiction, it is also among us right here, this sense of shift and journey, as subjective as it entirely is. It can mean so much. We can have this genuine desire to be with someone, for someone, some creature, some love, for one more moment in these days, just one more shadow of their presence, their voice. It's also true that can be with us in this time are not just the warm and the loving moments and memories and missing, but the complicated ones as well. The ones that are jagged and spiky, the ones who hurt us, the ones that hurt. Many of us reliving those again too. We want to find some way. It can be so hard when dwelling in those moments of time. It can be so hard to achieve an escape velocity out and onward. Because our question as the living, our question is very different. It's not what has been, but what is now and what is next. We begin in this question of what happens next. We begin to entertain that longer question of our own legacy or memorial or what will last, or perhaps even more modestly, that's entirely fine too. It doesn't have to be so grand as legacy, but simply what branches out from our connections, our relationships and the choices, what we love, what we fear, and what we hate. I mean, I am someone who loves to consider the past, who loves to look at the history and tell the stories, all the stories, the cool ones and the really terrible ones as well. But boy, set me up with some good book-scented library, and boy, we are in for a party. And as someone who's been in Unitarian Universalism for so long, I take that seriously too, right? But I am reminded, courtesy of an anonymous quote on Facebook, but truth nonetheless. Too many people spend their lives being dutiful descendants instead of good ancestors. Too many people spend their lives being dutiful descendants instead of good ancestors. The responsibility of each generation is not to please its predecessors, no matter how much they think they want that. We know that. It's to improve things for their offspring. Make your children proud, not your parents. Happy holidays. Yes, truth, yes. And, it is easier said than done, right? We, these mortal creatures, are pulled back and forth into the past, forward into the future. We have this language among us of obligation, of legacy, of living up to those who have gone before. It can be so compelling. We find ourselves anchored, so compelling, not just in the positive, but also bound in legacies of harm and addiction and war and suffering. We can be so bound by the past and the present, so immobilized. How do we perceive the people of the future? Now here's where Unitarian Universalism is going to show up a little bit, not just in the love of its history, but because at our core theology, we are not spending a lot of time counting on what happens after we die. Rather, we practice the struggle of the past and present and future knowing that we, this earth, shares a common destiny, that we are part of the cycle of life, of death, that we are part of this moment. We are not concerned with what happens after you die. There's lots of conversation. Please, by all means, everybody's going to spend some time reflecting on that meaning. But that's not where we live, if you will. We are not concerned with selling fire insurance because we're not concerned about the burn. We do know how much we create hell on earth, though. That we do. The poet Claire Roussel asks, how did you know that something else was possible? Where did this idea germinate inside you? Show us, point us to this place, the future peoples say. Tell the story of summoning your siblings to revolt for a life of connection and dignity. For what dignity is possible if dignity is not available to all? Show yourself. Show where you saw a different story. Wherever possible, locate yourself. This is first. Locate yourself. This being, this pushed and pulled in all that has been and all that is and all that is yet to come, our task first is to remember and define the self and claim the dreams. And it can look like this, as Roddy Bell Shelton Biggs tells us. My dreams, they matter. They matter as they pull me inward and yet simultaneously push me outside of myself. My dreams matter. They matter as they speak the breadth of love, of pain, of hope that rest deep inside the fabric of my blood and bones. So our task in that centering and finding and claiming the self is that claiming the dream, even when the now is a nightmare. Claiming the dream, starting with the present. It is a beginning. It is something. But I also know, we know the challenge is just so impossible. Changing something that is so truly deep in our human behavior. The presence of violence today, this is, I think, the intractable problem at the heart of so many conflicts and so much death. When we act from anger and fear instead of compassion, the world weeps, it is doubled over in tears, it feels insurmountable. We are bound and stuck. How do we make the change when we don't even know that there is a different choice? As the poet asks and reminds us, how did you know? And the poet and Roddy say something different can happen. How shall we make an effort to become a good ancestor? Because taming that question, ooh, I want to be a good ancestor, it feels nearly laughable, like, really? Are you sure? But I have one way to make this person-sized. Not just church-sized, although that's pretty good too, but person-sized. And it's shared with permission from a friend. And so this friend shares. She says, I'm sitting in my car on the edge of my child's game before practice. crying my eyes out about something big and small and true that happened today. I saw the proof of all of my cycle-breaking efforts. Do you remember when you were little and someone broke something or spilled something and everyone looked around and said, "Ooh," because you knew someone was going to get in trouble? Or worse, when you broke something and your heart sank and fear rose in your throat because you knew a punishment was coming. And you knew you didn't mean to, but your parent was gonna be so mad. Well, this afternoon, I dropped a candle in a glass jar and it shattered and broke all over the floor. And instead of, "Ooh, and somebody's in trouble," my sweet baby girl called down from upstairs, "Mommy, are you okay?" That sounded scary. And thousands of times over the 9 years of her life when she broke something or spilled and I was angry, but instead said the exact same words to her, flashed through my head, and then tears flooded my eyes. She will never be afraid of making a mistake, or spilling her drink, or just being her clumsy, growing self, or trying something that is beyond her reach, or trying something new at all. Because I stopped it. It stops here. Getting angry or afraid would never even occur to her. Only concern, only curiosity, only empathy. Whatever I screw up in this parenting job and all the ways I cause harm, and all the ways I hurt their feelings, and all the things I do because I don't know better, this one I got right. This one. Today was the trophy. That moment is the beginning of a legacy. That care, this love, that will, in fact, has already been absorbed and is already changing the story. This task is not linear, but legacy, with texture and faltering and failure. We find again how much a mere dream and a kind word can change the world, interrupt the cycle of violence and shame and harm and fear. How it can expand the heart, for love seen in such a way is also love reflected and amplified. A mere dream can nurture a forest for centuries. A mere dream can interrupt war. A mere dream can ripple into the future and help the people of the future know us. A mere dream can save us right now. May it be so.
Our closing song or hymn is We Shall Be Known by Ma Muse. We're going to sing it 3 times. A few of us here will lead you through it once and hope that you will join us the second, third times, or whenever you're ready.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round and these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round and these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we cry. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within